Brothers and sisters in Christ, welcome to a new video. My name is Brother Daniel, and today I'm going to be talking about Jacob and Esau story. Just coming back from the last video where we learned about Abraham and Isaac. Well, Isaac, later on he met a woman called Rebecca. She was pregnant, she had twins, and while she was pregnant, the twins were kind of like fighting. And this was kind of like a burden for her. She asked to the Lord to try to understand what was happening. And we learn in Genesis 25 that the Lord said the following to Rebekah in the verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and all manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Basically, here the Lord was telling that the younger will serve the elder. This was kind of confusing for Rebecca. But what happened is that when she had the babies, she had the first one that was called Esau, and then they had the second one that came later that they called him Jacob, because he was born holding Esau's heel. Later on we come to understand, this chapter tells us that the two boys, they were really different. Esau, the oldest one, he was a hunter, and he was really hairy. Is what the scriptures tell us, that he was covered in red hair, so he was different. And Jacob, he was a more calm person. He was more, low-key, not so much aggressive like a hunter. And what happens is that Isaac, he really liked Esau and wanted to give him the blessing, but also Jacob, he was searching for the blessing, that special blessing that will basically tell them that they will continue the blessing that God gave to Abraham to be the father of all nations, was called the birthright. And Isaac, he wanted to give the birthright to Esau because he really favored him, but Rebecca, because she remembered what the Lord told her, she wanted to give the blessing to Jacob. We can read in Genesis 25, Esau, he wanted to go hunting, and he actually exchanged his birthright for a red pottage. So basically, he traded his birthright for food, and I'm not joking. We can read on the verse 29. And Jacob sought pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. Kind of a fair deal. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright to do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. So this was kind of like a verbal agreement that happened between the brothers. And this also demonstrates how much Esau, he didn't care about his birthright, because he was willing to sell it for food. On the other hand, we saw that Jacob, he was always trying to find an opportunity to get the birthright. So he even found this really weird opportunity of selling him red pottage in trade of the birthright. Obviously, this doesn't work like that. So who gives the blessing is Isaac. So Jacob, he'll have to wait for that moment. And that actually is what happened. Isaac, when he was old, he was blind, and when he was almost ready to die, he wanted to give the birthright to Esau. But Rebecca, remembering what the Lord told to her, she kind of like convinced Jacob to dress in a manner that will basically copy the physical description of Esau, like cover him in hair, so when his father will touch him, will think it's Esau, because Esau is hairy. And that actually worked. It was weird because Isaac, he could recognize that the voice was of Jacob, but because he saw that the arm or while he was touching his son was so hairy, he thought that could only be Esau. And what happened is that Isaac, he gave the birthright to Jacob, and then Esau discovered. When he discovered, he was so mad that he wanted to kill Jacob. So Jacob, he fled away and went basically to live with his uncle that was called Laban. Jacob now, when he is with Laban, he's seeing a girl that he found that is really beautiful, which is Rachel. And he sees another girl that is not that beautiful, that is called Leah. And what happened is that Jacob, he goes to work for his uncle, and basically they do a deal that if he works for 7 years, he can get one of his daughters, which will be Rachel, is what Jacob he thought. But what happened is that Jacob, he worked for 7 years, and he got actually the sister of the woman that he loved, which was called Leah. And and basically Jacob, he was not really satisfied with this, and as so he was able to convince again Laban to do the exactly same deal and work more 7 years to get Rachel. Yeah, this is a crazy story, and if you stop to think about it, I told you that Laban is his uncle, so we're talking about his cousins. And basically he just married one, and he's like, oh, but it's not this one that I wanted to. So he worked for another 7 years to get the other, and he successfully did it. But he heard that actually Esau was trying to search for him and to kill him. So Jacob, he went away, and the scriptures tell us of an episode where he met a strange man. And the scriptures tell us that he basically fought with that man, and that man actually hurt his hip, but he continued to fight all night. And when Jacob basically kind of like win this fight, the man told him, and because he endured so much, he actually called him and changed his name and said that his name now will be Israel, which means the one that struggles with God. So because of that, Jacob, because he won that fight, he now basically he found kind of like a new identity. And while he fought this angel, Esau and all of his men, which I think was 400, they basically found him. And when Esau found him with his men, Jacob just thought that he was a dead man. But actually when Esau, when he came, he basically embraced Jacob and said sorry. And they did like a reconciliation. They became friends again. So what does this story teach us about? We should not take the blessings of God for granted. Here we can see that it was a really special blessing, and we can see that Esau, he didn't give much value to that, while he didn't understood how big it was, how important it was. And we can see the other brother, which gives a lot of importance, that truly understands that blessing is really important. We can see through that the Lord, when we don't give much importance to his work, when we don't devote ourselves to his kingdom, he will always have another person that is willing to participate and to help his kingdom to take our place. And so this story, first of all, helps me to remind that I should put God in the first place, and that he has a huge blessing for me if I do that. The second thing that I came to learn from this story is about our means to follow God's plan. It's interesting that God told to Rebecca that Jacob, he will receive the birthright, because they said that the younger will rule over the older. But God didn't told how it would happen. And we saw through the scriptures that Rebecca basically, she influenced Jacob to dress as his brother to deceive his father. And we can all look to this and think this is not right. Well, personally for me, I believe this wasn't the right way to do that, to receive the blessing. And I believe that because of that, God, he punished Jacob. And you ask me, how did God punish Jacob? Well, if you think about, Jacob deceived Isaac, but then Laban, his uncle, deceived him. And he worked, instead of working 7 years to get the woman of his dreams, he worked 14 years. And more than that, if you think about later on, where we're going to be talking about Jacob's son, Joseph, we can know that Jacob, he was also deceived by his own children that his son was dead. And we can see a pattern that God basically, he punished Jacob because he deceived his father. He was also deceived throughout his life. The third thing that I learned here about this story is about how God, he really works through mysterious ways, and how after the struggle he always rewards us. this strange man that Jacob he fought, a lot of scholars and teachers, they say that it was an angel that he fought. Personally, for me, my interpretation is definitely he was a spirit of God, and although the scriptures tell that they physically struggle with each other, I believe this story is teaching us that Jacob, he had his natural man, a man that was more clean to do worldly things, maybe to fight his brother, but he had this spiritual part, and he was struggling his spirituality with his carnal man. And what happened that night is that the spiritual man of Jacob won, and that's why he got his name, which is called Israel, which is the one that struggles with God. Because Jacob, he had this capacity of endurance, and God, he blessed him for that. So I think this is a lesson for us, that if we also have, if you endure, if we try to overcome the natural man, God will bless us and will make us a new man. He'll give us a new identity. Although we will not be called Israel, we will have a new nature, and we'll have a rebirth. We'll become a new man. And I think this is what happened to Jacob. But yeah, guys, I don't want to make this video to be too extensive. I wanted to this video to do a shorter version to see if it's more enjoyable to watch. If you have also, I want to hear your thoughts about this story. What did you learn about Jacob and Esau, and what do you basically will change in your daily lives to follow these examples? So guys, if you like this video, I encourage you to put the like on it, subscribe, share with your friends and family, and hit also on the ring bell so when the new video comes you are notified by it. And yeah guys, thank you so much, stay blessed, bye.